Hi, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations, and thanks for being here today. You know, the backbone of the country is small businesses, small entrepreneurs who bring to the table something that big corporations simply can't. And that word, in a nutshell, is passion. And you're going to hear lots of that in today's conversation with Jesse and Dominic, owners of BOOMA Paddles, on Kitchen Conversations. Well, Jesse, Dominic, welcome to Kitchen Conversations. Welcome to my little teeny tiny podcast that I'm building here in Kingston, Ontario. And it's really just an absolute pleasure to meet the two of you this morning and to get a chance to say hello. So thank you for being here and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for us to be here and to speak with you.
Wow, you have just an incredible story. And we were talking just off camera a moment ago, and I have such a deep passion for family-owned businesses and family-owned companies and a high level of respect for what it takes for a couple, a husband and a wife or two partners to go to work every day and come home every day and sit at the dinner table and talk about the company every single day. My wife and I owned a family business for, I guess it was in our family for 50 years, believe it or not. It started back in 1967, and her and I and her brother kind of came into things with her parents in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I come to the conversation today with a deep appreciation for what you guys are doing as a couple. And as my father-in-law said to me once, and I've never forgotten this, he said, to make a marriage work, it's a miracle. To make a marriage work at work, it's a double miracle. So I've never forgotten that. So congratulations on all the success that you've had, both as a couple and a family, and now as a family business. So I wanted to start by saying that to you. It is a special relationship, though, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. It's we've been together for a long time, and this was kind of a natural step for us. But we do talk about it a lot. So the kids know the business very, very well. They hear us on the phone, they hear us at the table, they hear us on the weekend. We answer clients' calls all the time. So definitely a family affair.
Yeah. Well, Jesse, I'm going to tell you, I think that will serve both of them well down the road, because I think it shows the commitment and the passion that you both have for the company and the business, and the realization of how important it is in your lives today. And I know for our boys, it's same story. I mean, we would be at home at night with dinner, and of course you'd be talking about the business. And it was, for those listening today that have not been involved in a family-owned company, that work for a corporation where you're permitted to turn it off at 5 o'clock and not think about it till the next day or after the weekend, that's not a luxury that family-owned businesses have. We just don't. And so we were 7/24. And so the kids were immersed in all of the talk about, and for us, it wasn't nearly as exciting as what you're doing. I mean, your business is exciting. We sold furnaces and air conditioning. There's not a whole lot of excitement around that, but we enjoyed it. But, I would much rather have been talking about pickleballs and pickleball paddles and all of that.
We go on vacation when we're taking pictures of the paddles. And the kids are like, again, I need to be in another photo. Like, can't you find somebody else? And now as they're getting older, they're like, oh, just play together a bit and I'll take a few shots. And I'm like, oh, come on.
I know. Well, listen, getting kids to do what they're supposed. Certainly, I don't know what age your boys are. Mine are 28 and 25. And there was a certain phase where it didn't matter what mom and I asked them to do. They were just going to fight it. I mean, I think it's just a phase that boys go through, It's like, stand there and try to smile, because it cost us a lot of money to get here, and we're going to pretend we're having a good time. Oh boy.
We'll create memories. Memories will be, you'll smile, and that's it.
That's right. It's fun now, though. We just had our youngest. He's in Ottawa. He lives in Ottawa. Our oldest is in Thunder Bay, so we don't see him much. We're flying up to see him in a couple of weeks, but our youngest in Ottawa, we see quite a bit. And, it's funny to see that relationship change. They've gone from being the kids to kind of being our friends in a different sense. And I mean, we're still parenting to some extent, but it's the greatest job. I mean, I loved what I did for a living. I really did, but I love being a dad, and I love being a husband. I love being a parent. It's just my pride and joy, those two kids, for sure. So, well, listen, let's break our conversation into 3 rallies, if you guys are good with that. And I try to keep that in the spirit of the game with 3 rallies. And rally 1, I'd love to hear a bit about your working background, your education, the sports that maybe the two of you played coming up and growing up, and maybe met playing sports, perhaps, I don't know, but a bit about that. And then rally 2, we have to talk about pickleball and how you found it, or maybe it found you, and And outside of the company, outside of BOOMA, how does it fit into your lives today? And I'd like to hear a bit about that. And then Rally 3, which I really hope is our longest rally. We want lots of back and forth on that. But I'd love to hear the story of your company. I know you have an interesting story about how it kind of started and where it is today and hopefully where it's going. So with that said, can I ask you to jump into Rally 1 and start by giving me a bit of background on the two of you and kind of what have you done to get where you are today? I'm fascinated to hear that story.
Yeah, I studied in finance and marketing,
Okay.
and I worked for IBM as a sales specialist, and then I went to my father has a Toyota dealership, so I worked there, family business also. I worked there for maybe 10 years, and then I moved on to finance, and then I work also. As I was developing selling a cellular trail camera for a local company here. And I was responsible for their Amazon sales in the US and Canada. And then over all these years, I was looking for, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I had some opportunity to buy companies, but it didn't work out. So at one point, we uh, we decided to start our own company, BOOMA. Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
Wow, lots of sales experience for sure. Yeah, I say people that don't, haven't been in sales, they don't know what they're missing. I mean, I loved every minute of it. I spent 40 years out there trying to peddle something or another. And I actually think I probably started selling when I met my wife. We were teenagers, 12, 13, 14 years old when we met. So I think I did a really good sales job then to get her convinced that I was the right guy. And yeah, I often say she could have done a little bit better, maybe a whole lot better. But yeah, it's
It
interesting.
was your
Jesse,
sales pitch. Your sales pitch was too
yeah,
good.
yeah. I was selling at 13 already. I didn't realize it, but I was destined to be peddling something for most of my life. So now I'm peddling a podcast. So nothing's changing.
There
Yeah.
you
Jesse,
go.
what about you?
So I have a background in marketing and international business. I did my master's in international business. Worked mostly in manufacturing companies, really in marketing, product development, sales also, and I kind of just followed the Booma trail. And Dominic had been looking for a business for a long time, and nothing really worked out. Um, and we were looking for a business that would really fit with us. And then we'll know what it is after that. But I'll keep the suspense. So yeah, I was Dominic started Booma a few years, when maybe 2 years, and I jumped in.
Yeah, it's fascinating, but you've got to have, I think, to your point in the story about trying other things, we have to do that in life and we have to sort of dip our toe in there and decide if it's right or wrong. But, we always said to the kids, passion before paycheck. Was always a mandate that as a family that, yeah, if you're not passionate, and listen, I joke a little bit about selling furnaces as opposed to pickleball paddles and gear, but I did really love it, and I think it was something that we took very seriously, but we enjoyed it. So I think there's so many people. My dad was probably my example about doing something that paid well, but he did not enjoy it, and so I, as a young kid, made a promise kind of to myself that whatever I ended up doing, I'd love doing it. It sounds like that's kind of the path and the passion that you've followed as well. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to hearing that story in just a bit. What about your sports background? Oh, wait, before we get there, let me go to this. What's your love story? How did you meet?
Yeah.
Let's hear
we
the Booma love story.
Yeah,
Yes.
we met at Bishop's University. We both went
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So I was asking for some English lesson, so she provided me some lesson, and we met from there. Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that
Yeah.
great? How many years ago now would that have been?
Oh, gee.
He's the one
I'm
that does
dating
the
you.
calculations.
Oh, wow.
We were in first
It,
year of university, I think.
yeah.
I was.
It's more than, it's probably close to 30 years now.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make us any younger.
Yeah.
That's not. We should cut that out of the podcast.
Edit. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
it might be the best part of the podcast. We're being frank and honest, Yeah. That's what the foundation of the company, our integrity, transparency, and honesty. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we can change a lot about our lives, can't we? But we can't slow the clock down. There's just
No.
the
Yes.
first person to figure that out is going to do okay, by the way. But yeah, well, that's interesting. What about your sports background? Did you guys do a lot of sports together, kind of, when you were starting to get your act together? And
Yeah, well, sports is the center of our both of our lives. I've been in high school. I played soccer in the badminton team, the swimming team. We still continue to do a lot of sports. We're like a jack of all trades, master of none. Like we have a basement full of. We could probably open a sports store, and now with the kids, so it's even worse. But we make sure that we have something for every sport. So we play golf, we play tennis, we play obviously pickleball. But yeah, old past badminton players now. Um,
I played hockey also,
yeah,
but nothing competitive level. Like I was playing for fun, and so like Jesse just said, we're playing a lot of sports, but not on a competitive level.
yeah, and
Our
we're
kids are,
always
yeah.
we're always into sports too. Like if we have a few minutes, we're out running. We've ran Dominic's ran
Oh yeah, that's
marathons.
true. I forgot about that. I ran 5 marathons. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're thinking of running another one
Yeah, I
too.
might come back to.
It might be a comeback.
Yeah.
oh, is this something that's coming up this summer, this fall? Are you
In the
training?
fall, we we live in Warwick, a small town, 5,000
Yeah.
people city, and we're gonna have our first marathon in the fall, and it's a Boston qualifier. So it's been like maybe 15 years since I ran a marathon, but I mean, now is the time to come back, I guess.
Well, good for you. I'm going to tell you something. If you ever see me running, pull over and pick me up, because the only time I'm running if somebody's chasing me. And so that's just, please. Yeah. If you see Mike running down the road, pull over because somebody's after me.
Well, along those lines, when he was training for the marathon, he would just go and run and run and run. And after 30 odd kilometers, he called me. He says, "Okay, you can come and get me. I'm going to be at this point at around this time." And so in the training, he wouldn't do a loop or he wouldn't come back. He'd just run. And then he'd say, "Come get me."
Come get me. You were running a marathon Uber. That's what
Yes,
it was.
yes,
Yeah. The mom taxi took on a whole new dimension for sure. I love
yes.
it.
And then if we keep talking about the sports, our kids do play very high level hockey, actually, and baseball in the summer. So we're doing the Uber sports taxi from to all over the place. So we've seen a lot of arenas and a lot of baseball fields.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm not here to guide you or parent you, but I will tell you that, enjoy the moment. It goes
Yeah.
so quickly. I remember the boys both did basketball, volleyball, and I've mentioned this on previous podcasts, but I cried in the school gym, the last game that each of them had, because, they were not going to go on to anything post-secondary. They played more recreational, social, and did some competitive stuff. But as a parent, it just comes to a grinding halt and it's over. And so, yeah, I miss sitting on the benches watching the kids. I really do.
And the social aspect also, the parents. I mean, those are your people for years and years and years that you see every weekend. And then all of a sudden, when the hockey stops, you're like, oh, I actually have a Saturday and a Sunday. So, yeah, it's
Yeah, it's hard.
special.
Well, maybe that's a great segue into Rally 2, which is the game of pickleball, this crazy, wonderful thing that started back in 1965 on Bainbridge Island, and how we all love it so much. And you talk about the social side of kids sports and your own sports background, and the friendships that are, formed through there. There's just no better way to meet people than pickleball, in my
Oh,
Yeah,
opinion. And
yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
Our group,
definitely.
yeah.
You just show up at a court and then you have a whole new bunch of people that new friends that you create. We travel and play pickleball. We used to travel and run for the marathons, but now we travel and play pickleball, and we show up even with the kids at in a place, and you just start playing. And then every morning you meet them. Hey, how you doing? Hey, and it's new friends.
Yeah. You know, Jesse, I just can't put my finger on it. And I've been, like I said earlier, maybe off camera, that I've been playing about 3 years, and there's no other part of my life where I've met people. And of course, being in sales, that's what it's all about, is meeting people and creating relationships. And so I understand that side of it, but there's something about this game, that the instantaneous friendships and the camaraderie and the trust, and it just seems to come so quickly. And maybe one day somebody will figure it out, but there is a certain magic moment. And I call it that within pickleball, where there's just this social game happening, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, there's private games being booked as a result of those relationships, and we start to build form new groups and new friendships. So yeah, just terrific. So tell me about the first time you played. Can you recall the first game? Who
Yeah.
introduced you to it? Where was it? What did it feel like? And were you hooked immediately, or was this a game that took a little bit of time to kind of, you know what, I think we can do this? And I think with your extensive, sports background, a lot of people, I think there was a time when, I wouldn't say embarrassed, because that's not the right word, but maybe it was a bit awkward to admit that you were a pickleball player. There was this sort of secret society. It was hard to find courts, the availability of courts, and places to play. It's not like it is today, where you can find great facilities in almost every city across Canada and North America. But tell me about those first couple of games and who it was that maybe drew you into all of this.
We went to Florida to see my father, and he was on a campground. Well, do we call it a
Yeah,
campground?
it's kind of
Yeah,
a
a
campground.
campground. Yeah, and we were going to play tennis. So we went there, but there were like probably 10 or 12 pickleball courts. We didn't know anything about that sport, so we had our tennis paddle, and we were going to play tennis, but we were so curious to find out more about this sport. So we asked question, and then there was like a renting in place where they used to rent pickleball paddles so that we can try it.
They were the wooden type ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Really high tech.
Yeah. So we tried that, and we just fell in love with the sport. I mean, we had a lot of fun. Like in the first hour, we didn't know the rules, so we asked a lot of questions. We went on the internet to find out more, and then I said, then it came up like as I was researching on the sport, it was saying all over the place the most
Popular
the
or
most
booming.
booming sport. So I was always on the thinking about a new business. So I just fell in love with the sport, and I was looking for a new business. So let's go with the passion and see what it ends up. Yeah.
And when we were our kids are tennis players also, since they're like 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
old. So we immediately just started to play, and the kids caught on, and they're like, "Hey, this is cool!" And they're hitting the ball left to right. And within a few minutes, we actually had a game going on. And then people that were playing, they're like, "Oh, okay, you guys are starting off," and then they asked us to play, and then they had the kids involved, and the kids are playing with older people, obviously, but there's no discrepancies, and everybody's having fun. And that's where we're like, wow, this is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So that's where we kind of said, wow, this is a sport that you can catch on, you can play with many generations. And it's easy, and there's no like, if you're starting to play tennis, it's something to start mastering where the ball will be
Takes a long
going.
time.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
you're hitting the ball all over the place. So yeah, immediately hooked. It was and the kids just said, okay, let's every day after that, let's go play pickleball. Let's go play pickleball.
Yeah, it's so it is that sport, Jesse. It's a great point you've made. And I appreciate you saying that this morning, because it does lead into this, which is when you think of any other sport, to try to have grandparents playing with grandkids, it's kind of it doesn't generally work. But pickleball is that game, and where grandma and grandpa can actually beat the kids and the grandkids. And and so they love it, but at the same time, the kids are like, we're going to get Granny, we're going to get her number dialed in at some point, because boy, she's really good, and I think that's part of that magic. And we talk about the explosion of the sport and the game, and how it continues to grow across not only Canada, but North America and beyond. And I think we're going to see some real growth coming out of Asia, and you guys would be very tightly tied into that, and know more about that than I would. But what a moment when you step onto that court. What a moment. And the recognition of, I've got it figured out in 20 or 30 minutes. And I loved what you said. We weren't really playing, but we were playing in a sense that you weren't keeping score necessarily, you didn't understand all the rules necessarily, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can get out there and hit the ball. And yeah, I've often said my wife plays at least twice a week with a group of ladies, and I'm still not convinced they keep score. Like I have no idea, but they have
Everybody
fun.
wins.
That's right. They have their game, I've got my game, and it all works out at the end of the day. So yeah, what a terrific story. So how does it fit into your, do you get a chance to play today? I mean, you're so busy with the company, but you do. Good.
We play we play at least once a week. We have a league on Monday nights in the winter. And what's really neat is my father, who is 75, I keep saying 75, but he might be a bit older than that, top shape.
Sure.
But he plays, like, he'll pick up the kids and hey, let's go play pickleball. And they're like, hey, we're going to beat him someday. And they give him a hard time. And so there's a lot of competition between the two. But my father plays with us. We have a group of 10 of us that play. So that's kind of our little pickleball moment, because yes, we haven't been able to really schedule time in the schedule for the last few years, because we've been so involved and invested in the business. But this year we've managed to do it, which was a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it's hard to prioritize all that, isn't it? I mean, it's tough, and the business has to take precedent. I mean, it just has to, and I get that, as we mentioned earlier. But I think it's important to stay connected to the game. I really do. And I took about an 18-month hiatus from it. I had a bit of a shoulder injury, nothing serious, but I just needed to do that, and I needed to clear some of the game's cobwebs out of my head. I was playing 4 hours, 6 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, and yeah, I got pretty intense, and not in a sense of being competitive, because I didn't do a lot of tournament play or anything, but I just loved the game, and I couldn't say no. No left my vocabulary. I used to be able to say no, I can't. But then something happened when pickleball came into my life, and I'm embarrassed to admit, but I've been leaving the local club after 4 hours. Somebody in the parking lot says, "Hey, Mike, so and so just canceled. Could you step in?" And I turn around in the parking lot and text my wife and say, I won't be home for dinner. I got to play again. So yeah, I don't do that anymore. I took that break. And I think, for those listening, it's something to think about. Maybe you're struggling with that, because it's such an addiction, and it really is hard to leave 3 people hanging who are trying to have a doubles game. You don't want to be that person that says, I can't help you. So it's nice that you've got it in your week, and it's so nice that your dad's part of this and part of the kids' lives as well. What a great part of that story. That's terrific. Yeah, it's really something. It really is. So yeah. And I think at the end of the day, if you're listening to the podcast, and someone had asked me a couple of weeks ago, what are you trying to do with this podcast? Like, what is your ultimate goal, and how would you define that you've had some success with what you're doing? And I guess it really boils down to something pretty simple. And that is that I'm hoping that someone listening to this today is inspired by something that you say, because nothing I say is probably going to inspire them, but I hope you do, to get out and try the game. So if you're thinking about pickleball, and you've heard about pickleball, and you've got friends and family that might be playing pickleball, but you haven't, the 3 of us are here today to try to encourage more people to get out in the court, because I really believe that it's a game changer, and I really believe it's a life changer. And I think, you would agree with all of that for sure.
Yeah, we have some customers also that had never played pickleball or any racket sports either. And they're like, it's like life changing for them, because wow, I can actually play this game. And then they get, as you say, addicted to it, and their life changes. They're not into sports, and they're not they're not racket sports players, and they're more, they'll walk and things like that, but not into real sports. And then they discover pickleball, and it's just, wow, life changing. So we see those transformations, which is wonderful.
It is, Jesse. I had a friend who the person that brought me into pickleball is one of the founding members of the Kingston Pickleball Club, and her name is Pam Bidnost. And Pam brought my wife and I into the game, so we will forever be grateful for that. And she was a friend and a neighbor, and we'd known her for almost 30 years before we stepped on a court with her. But her reflection on it and her love for the game really comes from being, at the time she started, 55 years old, but able to compete and win medals. And she was a tournament player and she loved it. And she said, Mike, I never thought at 55 I would ever compete. And she was fairly athletic growing up and played a lot of sports. But she said, my days of winning medals, or tournaments was in my opinion, gone. And then all of a sudden, pickleball literally landed in her lap. It was by accident that she found the game. It's a great story, great podcast. It's on the channel now. But she shares her passion for it. But that moment of recognizing at 55, hey, I can still be an athlete is pretty inspiring. So maybe to the person listening who says, oh, my sports life is washed up. It's not. And you can play this into your 80s and be very competitive. So that's great. Yeah.
It's it's the only sport that you can still be on a podium with a medal and be 75 years old.
Absolutely. You might need help getting up to the podium, but you'll be, once you're on the podium, you're fine. Just bring your step stool, just park your walker and go over and get on the podium. So yeah, it's great. Well, I love all that. Well, listen, let's jump into Rally 3 because that's really why we're together today. I mean, I love all of that. And I appreciate you being so open and candid and transparent about your story. It's just a great story. And I knew it would be. I just knew it would be. So thank you for that. But this story of your company, I'm so inspired by it. And we touched briefly on it, Dominic, with the concept in Florida. You sort of saw an opportunity. Can you tell me now, you've come home from Florida, let's start there. How do we get from that moment of the airplane lands again and now you're back in Canada and you're thinking about this? How do you get from there? Yeah, cold. Yeah, you look out the window and go, what just happened to me? I just left Sarasota and look where I am. Yeah, I've been through that more than I care to admit. But how do we get to where we are today? From that moment to today, walk me through that timeline.
Yeah, when we arrived from Florida, I was keep searching on pickleball and on paddles and what it takes to make them certified for the USPA, the process and everything. And the name also BOOMA. We found BOOMA because our sons, every time they were like doing a good shot in sports or anything, they were saying BOOMA. I don't know how it came up, but we always thought one day if we start something, we have to think about the name BOOMA. And we were so BOOMA was available in Canada regarding trademarks and everything. So, and in the US, we went through that process for the trademark and everything. So BOOMA, we thought that BOOMA was like meaningful for our family. So we decided to go with that name. And then we did some research regarding the paddles, and we did try some samples that we got from some suppliers, and then we did some design from locally. So that was like the first year. It was all about research and development, testing. It takes a long time. Just the process for to get a paddle approved is 6 weeks. So just to send the paddle, they do the testing, they came back with the results, and before that you have to do the design and testing. So there's a lot of work behind a paddle, but it's.
It was important for us to have the USAPA approvals also.
Yeah.
Because we wanted people to be able to do tournaments. We thought for us, if you're serious, you need to be in it and have the paddles at a certain level that people can use them for tournaments. So that was really important for us. So that step was non-compromisable, even though it added additional costs and additional time to the release timelines.
Yeah, but you did it right. And I think that's the point that needs to be made here, and and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been told in, chatting with other podcast guests that there are well over 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 paddle manufacturers around the world today. Do you agree with those numbers?
Uh, Probably, yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of paddles out there. Yeah, I might be right. I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot of them. Yeah.
But I guess the point I would make is there's probably a majority of those not worried about those types of things, Jesse. But to see that BOOMA was and took the right
Yeah.
steps, and this is the path that we're taking, and we're doing it for the right reasons. And yes, it's adding cost and time, and
Hmm.
and it takes patience, to get through all of that. But yeah, doing it right out of the gate, I don't, because you sort of get one chance, I think, to establish your brand equity and
Yeah.
to come out and say we're a serious company, and this is kind of. And I want to ask you in a moment here, where you sort of see yourselves fitting into that broader picture of paddle manufacturing and distribution and that sort of thing. But we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I really applaud you for that, because I think that's a big step. And I recognize, from the people that I've talked to on the podcast, that's not an inexpensive undertaking to get a paddle
Mhm.
approved, and the timelines on it are expensive. And yeah, so good on both of you for taking that route. So that sort of begins things, and you start working. When did you officially start selling paddles? When did you sort of say, okay, we're ready, we've got a product offering, we've got access to inventory? How did that all start, and when did that start?
Yeah, I had some experience with Amazon because I was responsible to sell the trail camera on Amazon. So we started with our website and on Amazon as well. So we started there, and then we some stores slowly they were selling our products. So actually, we have like one store in Kingston, the Pickleball Authority, that sells our product in Ontario. So yeah, so slowly we had some stores. Yeah, these are our latest ones. Yeah,
Yeah. And we started off with a basic offering, so
yeah,
introductory level paddles. We had the balls. And then from then on, the brand built itself up, and we introduced more products, so a higher level pickleball paddle offering with intermediate advanced paddles at the moment. And we have also like an introductory kit that people can start off with, which is really neat. And that's a huge seller. And
we have also protective glasses that was
oh,
added
yeah.
to our lineup a year ago. So we have eraser. We have like professional pickleball nets. Also, we have
Bags.
bags. So yeah,
And new products are coming right
yeah,
now.
we're
We're
working on new products. Yeah,
new paddles in the
Sorry, Jesse. I was going to say I would compliment you extensively on all of the sort of client facing work that you're doing. Your website is amazing. It's clean, it's efficient. You can navigate through it without a problem. Everything's right there, makes sense. And your social media, I don't know if you sleep at night, because your social media is just so amazing. I can't pick up my phone and not hear a story about Booma. Like, it's wonderful. And no, it's really, really, really well done. And I think maybe I have a deeper appreciation for that level of commitment and time that takes, having started the podcast and trying to get somebody to listen to it and find it. And it takes some work. So I could take some lessons from what you're both doing in that regard. But when we talk about all of that, which is terrific, thank you. When did that start? What year would you say the business kind of started moving? Was like, we're 2026 now when we're recording this. So
yeah, 2022. Uh, yeah, and before that, we took like 1 year of research and development (R&D). So we started selling our first product in 2022. Yeah,
And I remember when the product came in,
yeah.
it was a huge truck with boxes and boxes of
The
paddles.
garage
And I
was
think we
full.
must have that on our social media.
Yeah.
The garage was full, and we're like, okay, what are we going to do with this? Where are we going to put it? So the kids were jumping up on the boxes, and they were smaller at that time. And so we hauled all of the boxes in the basement and placed everything, and had to overflow in a few places, but it was overwhelming to see. Oh, okay, this is what it looks like. So this is what we've been working on. in our garage.
But what a moment when that very first delivery arrives. You know, all the
Mhm.
research, all the development, all the sleepless nights, all the worry, all the risk, all the money, all the time, all the dreams and the hopes and the prayers. I mean, all of that comes together when you're putting a family business together. I get it.
Yeah.
And that moment of that product arriving had to be something special. And I think, Jesse, I did stumble on that photo in doing my research on today's podcast. I think there is a picture of the boys and you guys in a garage, and it's their brown cardboard boxes with the name on it, and they're yeah, I think I did see that photo. So as I do the edit process for this, maybe if you're generous enough to allow me to use that photo, I'd love to show that, because I think
Yeah,
that
no
would be
problem.
great for, yeah, for those watching and listening. But yeah, people don't understand that grassroots moment where you're literally in your garage, your basement, every corner of the house has got a box full of, you know, BOOMA product hiding and waiting for the next step. And yeah, well, was there ever a point where you were second guessing yourselves from that moment you decided, you came back from Florida, you thought about the business, you knew the game was growing, you loved the game? Did you have a moment where you thought, oh gosh, you know, have we made a mistake, or was it just full steam ahead, never, never gave it any consideration?
That's a good question. I don't know. No, I don't think we had any regret. We sometimes we take decision on products and everything. We're not sure about the reaction of customers, but um, I mean, we didn't have regrets.
No,
We no,
no.
it's
Kind of go with
we
the fly by the
yeah.
seat of your pants and see how things will turn out, and you take the risk. There's a lot of risk. Yeah, and pickleball goes really fast. So technologies,
Yeah,
they come and they go, and it's a trend, and it's really hot, and then the next day it isn't. So it's right now the momentum. That's our challenge, is to keep up with the technologies and to continue, because you have that 6 month window, that 6 week window, that you're waiting for your approval to come in. In 6 weeks, a lot happens in pickleball.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. So I understand, and those listening get it. Um, you know, you're talking about constant paddle evolution. I assume the two of you that's a topic of discussion almost regularly, daily with you, about what's next. Because I mean, your products are amazing. I mean, they're just wonderful to hold, and they look great, and they feel great, and they play great, and you know, so you've got all that working. But you know, it's everything. I love what you've said, and I'm glad you went there today, because I think it's missed on a lot of people that, you know, we think about the tech industry moving quickly, iPhones and iPads, and you can buy an iPad today, it's outdated yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
it's already, you know, but really pickleball as an industry and paddle technology as part of that industry, I think there's some parallels there that maybe the average pickleball player isn't thinking about. They're playing with quote unquote the latest paddle, you know, from say BOOMA, but the reality is you're already working on the next one and the next one
yeah.
after that. I would, is that fair? Is that a fair
Yeah,
assumption?
that's fair. Yeah, you have always to think about the next one. Yeah, so it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge to be part of. So always innovate and try to find the new thing, the new paddle that will.
Yeah, and on that note, what drives that? Like when you say we're trying to figure it out, like what do you drive that? Where does the information for that next paddle come from? Is it just your intuition, or are you looking at client feedback? Are you following industry trends? How do you sort of determine?
Yes, yeah, like customers, suppliers. Um, Looking at the competition, and we have also we work with very good players that use our paddles, and they always bring feedback to us. So we kind of do a 360 research on that, and talk to a lot of people, and try to find the next best paddle.
Yeah. We do mixed matches. Like we have samples in the
Yeah.
house laying around everywhere, and then we try them out and we lend them out to key players. And then they say, "Well, I like this, but I like this one a bit more." And then so we go back to the drawing board and we say, "Okay, how about we take this characteristic and we move it on to this one, but we like this one a bit more." So yeah, it's a lot of back and forth to get the right paddle out.
For sure. And when I think about the paddle, it's interesting, obviously, as a player and a passionate player. I love the game. Clearly, I mentioned how many hours I used to play in a day, which is still a bit of an embarrassing admission. I had it so bad at one point. I still have it, just not quite that bad anymore. But for me at least, when I think about the paddle that I like to play with, it really boils down to trust. And I use that word in the sense that, whatever it is that I'm holding in my hand, I have to have a trust relationship with that paddle. And I'm not a good enough player to maybe be able to tell you what I think I'd like to see in my next paddle, but I can tell you what I love about this one,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you hear that from other clients or people that you're working with, but I've always said that as a player, and of course, what's the first thing every pickleball player does when they miss a shot? They look at their paddle, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
It's
true.
the craziest.
Well,
You'll whiff a ball, and the first thing you do is you glance at your paddle, like there's a hole in the middle. All of a sudden, you're
yeah.
like, "What
Eh,
happened?" Like, I don't get that part, but we all do it. Every
Yeah,
every
yeah.
pickleball game that's happening right now in this moment in North America, somebody is staring at their paddle trying to figure out what went wrong. And so
mm,
I think,
yeah, it's
so I'm
true.
interested in your thoughts on that. But for me, it's trust. There's a trust issue, a trust relationship that exists between what's in my hand and how confident I guess I am as a player when I'm on the court. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I might move towards like a quality side of the paddles, but for us, it's really important that people have a good quality, in the sense that, there's no warranty claims. So there's the technology, but the confidence that your paddle won't disintegrate within the next, month or two that you're using it, because, we're not a well-known brand. We're a Canadian brand. We're not international, so we have to gain people's trust by, offering a good quality product, and that's what we strive for. So for me, what you're talking about, the trust is really related to, you're buying a Booma paddle. You can trust that it won't break in your hand within the next, few weeks, and it'll last you a long time. We'll be able to follow your progression through your stages of pickleball. So, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The-
well said. I love that. And I think it's a valid point. And on that note, Jesse, as a pickleball player who doesn't know the answer to this question, what should the life expectancy, because I mean, there is a life expectancy on anybody's paddle. I don't care if we're talking yours or theirs or hers or his or mine or what, what, what should the average social player that's playing, 3 or 4 times a week, maybe playing a reasonable amount of pickleball, which is, depending on who you're talking to, but let's just say they're playing, 4, 5, 6 hours a week, give or take. What can we expect out of a quality paddle like a Booma? What's the life expectancy for that?
Well, as a general rule of thumb, it's a paddle like in the industry. It's about 500 or 600 hours of play.
Okay. All right.
So it's like a rule of thumb. As it depends how strong you hit the ball
Right.
and what's your play style. But usually between 500 or 600 hours of play. It's like a good rule of thumb. Yeah.
it's hard to tell when your paddle is used, because you don't. If it's a tennis racket, you'll have the cords. You'll be able to see the strings that they're kind of wishy washy. But the pickleball paddle can still be very nice on the outside, and the inside will be all crushed, because obviously you're trying to hit the middle of the paddle as much as possible, and you don't know what's happening inside. So
Yeah. But all of that said, and I think if there's another reason, and there are so many that we could talk about, the three of us today, about why this game is so popular and why we all love it so much, but it really is the cost of entry. I mean, the court fees, the shoes, the paddle, like it really is inexpensive if we were to compare it to, say, the game of golf. And you mentioned golf earlier. And I know for me, I can't speak for you, but I'm going to go through at least $30 worth of balls in 18 holes because I'm terrible. So, like, I mean, so I always get a kick out of certain people go, oh, gee, club A or club B, their court fees are getting a little expensive. And I go, well, what? Well, they're $15. I go, $15? Like I spend that by the fourth hole. on just golf balls. Like, so I always find it interesting. And listen, that's not everybody. That's the rare case. But I think part of the game that I love is that cost of entry, and in everything we talked about with your dad being able to play with the boys, and so that generational ability. But also, it's really not an expensive game to get involved in. You mentioned the starter pack that you have, which is great.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, if you go back in the history of the game, Barney McCallum, they sold starter kits, all those years ago, in 1965, when they developed this game, and they developed their company and started selling paddles and balls. They had kits and nets. And so it's interesting that you're doing some of that. It's kind of a throwback in history. It's great. So good on you for that. But yeah, I think, we have to be realistic about the gear that we're using, because your shoes are going to wear out. And
Yeah.
so, people never think twice about having to replace a pair of running shoes. But I think, Jesse, what you've said, I can look at the bottom of my shoe and realize I've got a problem. But when I take a look at this paddle, superficially, it looks great. You've done a great job on the edge guard. So it's going to hold up. This paddle is going to hold up very well on the outside, but we're not really sure what's going on the inside. And Dominic, that's a great point. I'm 6'2". So, I do hit a pretty hard ball if it's in the right spot. And so other players are softer, a little. I tend to hit the ball fairly hard when I get a chance. So I'm probably going to peel through a paddle a little quicker than some others. But yeah, it's interesting. This is all really good conversation, because I don't think it's something that I've heard many people talking about. So I'm really glad that we had a chance to go there. Yeah. I don't know how you feel it. I guess you kind of feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, you feel the sound, and you feel that it doesn't really respond as well anymore. We have some very powerful players that play with our paddles, and they go through them in about 6 months to 8 months, and they hit a ball like there's no tomorrow. It's dangerous. You got to have your glasses on to play against them.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's talk. I'm watching the clock. I want to be very careful. I've taken up more time than I'd hoped to, and I apologize for that, but it's just such a great story. Do you want to spend a bit of time talking specifically about some of your products? And I love what you've done with the eye protection. And I'm a huge advocate for eye protection, by the way. I think that the industry needs to take a firmer stance on this. I hate the word mandatory, because I think that's not something we want to be part of the game. But at the same time, what you've done with being able to take the lenses in and out, I think is a real winner. And so I'd like to, maybe, again, not to take up too much more of your time, but anything specific about your product line, be it the paddles, the bags, the glasses, the ping pong side of your business as well, which you haven't touched on. But if you want to take the next couple of minutes and just express anything you'd like to about the product line, I'd really love that.
Yeah, well, I can maybe just touch base on a fun project that we did, the Montreal Canadiens project that we haven't talked about. I'm not selling anything here, but it's something that we're very proud of. We got an email from a Montreal Canadiens email address, and at the beginning, I was like, how you receive a lot of spam and things like that. And I'm like, this can't be very serious. And then, I said, well, I'll respond and see. And it was really the Montreal Canadiens that were contacting us, and they were looking for a gift to give to the players at their fundraising golf tournament. So we made a BOOMA raw carbon Montreal Canadiens pickleball paddle. So all of the golfers that participated in last fall's edition of the foundation tournament got a BOOMA paddle. So we were really proud of that. It came with a case and an eraser. So that's I don't know. It was nice of them to reach out to us.
It's pretty big. That's a pretty big story. That's a great story. Yeah. I mean, but you're right. When that moment happens, you've got this email thinking, is this legit? Like, so good on you for chasing that down. What a great story. What a great story.
Other than that, well, you touched the glasses, the protective eyewear. You can remove the lenses easily, and I think a lot of people are using them without the lenses, because the indoors with the lighting, when you have the clear lens, you have kind of a flash, and you don't see that well. So a lot of people like that, and there is a clip that you can add. If you want to add your own vision, like you go to the optometrist and you have the clip, your prescriptions added to that little clip, and you can play. You add it to the glasses. So That's a huge seller. We sell a lot of the glasses because a lot of the players are being injured. Those very powerful or non-powerful players, and you're even a source of injury to yourself. I awkwardly injured myself playing pickleball. I hit the ball and the paddle came hit me on the lip. So I had like a huge bruise for a while, and I looked in the mirror and like, what is this? And it was a bruise. I thought it was dirty and running around and meeting people all day. I hadn't looked, but no, it was a bruise. So bloody lip and everything like that. That's I can't. I guess I have to wear a mouthpiece now to play.
Hockey helmet with a cage,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, I've always said the most dangerous person on the court is my partner. I've always said that, because I've got time with the ball coming the other way, but I'd have no idea what my partner's about to do. So yeah, a lot of injuries do happen on the same side of the net. They really do. So yeah, great point. Yeah, great point. Well, I love the glasses. I love that whole concept. That's terrific.
We have our latest three paddles, like the titanium, like the one that you just showed.
Right.
They have like two layers of foam, one for the thermoform, and the other one is a Eva layer. And it's a Gen 3 paddle, and it's good to make some ball effect on it. That's
Yeah.
some
Very gritty. Very,
yeah.
very gritty.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one that you have.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love it.
And also we have the Elite, same thing except of being a titanium paddle, it's a carbon paddle. So
this is a softer touch, more control.
better control.
Mm.
And we have like the Pro K1V. It's in Kevlar. Yeah, yeah. So for more power. Yeah.
And then one cool thing we can't really show that well, but we do have a really neat bag, and the bag will come apart to become a. It unzips. So I don't know if I can show it here without destroying everything. It comes apart. So when you're going to the court and you don't want to bring the huge bag with everything in the summer, especially, you just take your bike or you walk to the courts. This is like a sling bag. I don't know if we can see. So you have a 2-in-1 bag for, I think it's $139. A leather, like a kind of a leather finish to it. This is really hot right now. It's really, and with the summer, the good weather coming, you'll have a good 2-in-1 option.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned your website before, and, as we wrap up our conversation this morning, out of respect for your time, we'll leave all kinds of contact information in our show notes, and we'll make sure that everybody knows how to get back. Because I think, you need to get on that website. You need to read the story. You've done a great job within the website of the About Us section. And so get in there and dive into the BOOMA story and hear all of it, just to reconfirm everything that we've talked about this morning. But, you've done a great job of laying out the website. And, we had a bit of experience as a business trying to create websites, and we had our own internal online ordering system as well, web order entry and that sort of thing. So, connecting points through Amazon, we'll make sure that's there, the website, and we'll definitely mention the Pickleball Authority and my buddy David, who's been so generous in helping me get to you guys. And he was the first guy to mention you and your company to me, and he's very proud to be a distributor for you. And I don't know if you're aware that he's selling nothing but Canadian product now. I'm not sure if you.
I just found out. I just found out that. Yeah, it's great.
He's made a very bold move there, and I think it's a smart move. And we kind of mentioned earlier in our conversation, perhaps even off camera, just we're kind of in a political moment right now globally. It's not just us and them; it's the world. And I think for David to have taken that stance, I really applaud him. And he is such a great advocate for your company and for the game. And I'm so happy that you have a relationship with him, and I hope that continues, because he is somebody locally that if you are in the game of pickleball in the Kingston, Ontario, really, for that matter, and beyond, I mean, really across the country, he's well known. And so you've done a good thing in partnering with him for sure. So I applaud you for that as well.
We appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go today. You got a company to run. I've got a retirement plan to get underway here. I got to go and do, I've got to go quit this and go do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day unless I can find another pickleball game. But I've got a
Yes.
couple of, I got a couple of favors to ask. And one is, could I please stay in touch with you? And could I please have you back on the podcast down the road to maybe chat about what's happening with you and with your company?
Sure.
I would love that. So I'll keep you on my list for that if that's okay. And then the other thing is we're not far apart. And I would just love a chance to meet with you one day, play a game of pickleball and have lunch.
Yeah.
So if you ever find yourself heading this way, or if I'm heading that way, perhaps we could connect. And it's always nice, you know, we meet virtually with so many people in the course of it just seems that's the world we're in today, but we're only a few hours apart. You know, I'm in Kingston and you said, was it, what's the name of the town again? Warwick? Is it?
Warwick, yeah.
Warwick, Quebec.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're not far. So we should try to make that happen. It would be great to get a game in with the two of you if you ever happen to come this way. So yeah, it's great. And just before I say thank you and goodbye, was there anything else that either of you would like to mention this morning? Because this has been just an inspiring and enlightening. And I knew it was going to be. I said to my wife coming down to the podcast studio, I am so happy to talk to the two of you this morning. And certainly from the family owned and operated side of things, it's sort of a secret club that we have that only we understand. So we're not even going to try to explain to those people that don't work in a family business, but congratulations on absolutely everything you've done and you're doing. And I wish you nothing but continued success. You've done a great job here.
Thank you very much.
You.
We really appreciate the support that we've received from going from being an unknown Canadian brand to actually having people reach out to us, saying that they've seen us, they've heard about us, somebody's talked about us, and they'd like to know about our products. I mean, it comes directly to the heart every time. So it's really, really fun to see the pickleball community, how they've backed and supported BOOMA throughout the years.
And all the retailers also that resell our products. Taking about David also from Pickleball Authority.
Yeah.
I mean,
the enthusiasm.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it. Yes. Yeah. So thank you.
Wow, you're welcome. And I hope that this tiny little podcast that's going absolutely nowhere does something in some way to help that movement, because I think, as a final thought to the two of you, as a Canadian and as a very proud Canadian, especially right now, I think that what we're looking for as players is a viable option. If we have a viable option, which BOOMA is, to buy Canadian and support Canadian and play Canadian pickleball, I think that's what we're going to do. I think it's just getting the word out there that there are options against brand A and brand B. And, some of the challenge, I'm sure, because we were a small family business, we were up against some of the giants in our industry, and you are as well, with some of the well-known names that we're not mentioning this morning. But they've got so much marketing money that, sometimes it clouds people's judgment. And I think the fact that there is a great option and a great Canadian option is probably the best part of our story this morning. So I applaud you both for everything you're doing. And again, continued success with everything. And I look forward to continuing to talk to you down the road.
Wow. Thank you. That's very well said. And we appreciate your time this morning, and hope definitely we'll see you again on a pickleball court this time.
You just said it. It's on tape. You can't escape now.
I'm looking
so it sounds great.
to it.
Yeah. Well, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk sooner than later. Thank you both for being here this morning.
Thank you, Mike.